What's up, guys? Colin from Action Backers here. Hopefully you're doing well. So today I want to make a little bit of a different video and show you sort of some of the upgrades I've made. Obviously, you might be able to tell I've got a different background now and things like that. As well as some plans in the next few weeks that I think you're going to find interesting. And then if you stick around, I'm going to show you how you can actually easily pull in single player data into your models, so you can build like a player-based models rather than just team-based. So I'm not going to show you how to build the entire model or anything like that, but I'm going to show you one quick and easy tip to actually get the players in under the right teams and things like that, make your life a lot easier. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here's the new setup. Same peripherals as before, but a new webcam. It's a Razer Kiyo with a built-in ring light, which is great for streaming and for these videos. And then the computer I built myself, it's a Ryzen 7 3800X chip, an RX 580 graphics card, and 32 gigs of 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM, housed in an NZXT case. And then there's my green screen. So the new computer is going to be great for streaming, for editing video, and for running larger data sets in Python and things like that. Right, so as you can see, there's my new setup, and I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to do things a lot better for you guys. Certainly for me, I can work faster. I'm working on some data sets in Python right now, and I'm flying through them, which is really awesome. But the main thing I want to let you guys know is with the NHL season having kicked off, and we're a week in now, not only am I going to start betting because my models have started getting some more data, but I'm also wanting to live stream a couple times a week and hang out with you guys, answer questions you might have, go over my picks and how the model's doing, and just talk about hockey. And so if that's something that's interesting to you, let me know down in the comments below. And I'd love to hear what you guys want to hear, because I don't just want to hop on the live stream and start talking if you guys aren't interested. I ran a poll on Twitter a week or two ago, and it seems like consensus was, given the options, that maybe twice a week would work best. So maybe like a Tuesday, Thursday or something like that. And I'm going to try and do this, after the morning skate, after we've got some information about the teams coming out that night, but well ahead of puck drop, so you guys still have some time to make an informed decision and place your bets and things like that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like I said, I'm hoping to do this, so maybe like late afternoon, so maybe around like 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if there's a time you want to see, let me know as well. So that's that. So with that being said, let me show you how to easily pull in some player data so you can start updating your models to run player specific if you wanted to. And the reason this is important, or at least that I think it's important, is with COVID, you never know, right? Guys can be out at the last second, and you need to be able to readjust your model. If they're a bit player, it probably doesn't matter as much. But if they're a star player, like let's say Leon Draisaitl is out for the Oilers, that's a big hit to their team, and a model's not going to pick that up until he's been out for a few games if the team's play is drastically different. So having this player-based model allows you to remove and subsequently boost different players in your lineups. So let's hop into it here. So here is what we're going to look at. And there are lots of ways to do this. All right, I'm going to show you the way on Sheets, because if you do this in Excel, you'll find, and there's a few videos out there, you'll find you have to write really, really complex formulas in order to pull the players in. Whereas with Sheets, it's a lot easier. So with Sheets, and you can see I've already got it highlighted here, we're just going to use a filter. And so all this is saying is we're going to filter, this is what we're going to return. So in this case, skaters, and from our sheet away L10, and if we go here, you can see, and how you get this data is up to you. How you clean this data, up to you. Like I said, I'm not going to show you how to build a model here, but assuming you have some data, so you can see it's referencing, if we go back, the D column. So if we go to away last 10 skaters, the D column are the players, right? So it's going to return the players. And then what the filter is it's going to filter the team column, which is the B column, based on whoever we've locked in to this cell here. So you can see that it's now pulling in from that player list only Montreal Canadiens. And from there, you can easily do calculations or whatever you need to do. So for instance, I'm just doing a simple VLOOKUP to pull in their position, as well as their ice time per games over the given, I think I have it at like 10 games or something like that. And then as well as their projected goals for. And the thing that I'm doing here, I'm pulling in their projected goals for from the model that I've built, but then obviously you have to normalize that so you can see, like, obviously if everyone on this team, that sums up to 18. Well, obviously they're not going to score 18 goals. There's only 60 minutes in a game, excluding overtime and shootout, and there can only be 5 guys on the ice at once. So without getting too in depth into it, to actually put that into a calculation, you essentially just sum that, you take 60 and then divide it by the sum of all of this. And I've just cleaned it up to make sure there's no negative numbers or things like that for the projected goals for. So you can see I just have like a greater than 0 and a less than 0. But essentially all you need to do is you just take 60 for 60 minutes and then divide it by the sum, and that'll get your expected goals for. And then from there, so this is how you get the players in, and that's a simple thing. So again, that's just using the filter function, and then you're saying, okay, you want to return players from a list, and then the criteria that you're returning are players from the team, and then whatever you set that team to. And you can see here, again, if I go to a drop down, you can change it, and it will update automatically. So that's really handy. And again, this is just a simple data validation I'm using. So you can see this is just a list from a range, and I have a validation. I always make a validations tab, and this is where I keep things, especially like if you need to reference if team names are different from like one stats resource to another, or if they're if the name is different. Like for instance, one that comes up a lot would be like Mitch Marner versus Mitchell Marner. Some stats sites have them as Mitchell, and others have them as Mitch. And if you're doing an exact match, it won't pick it up. Obviously, you can use wildcards and it'll be fine. But I always make a validations list, and then I can reference that. So you can see here, like I have a simple ID and then a long ID, and then that gives me a team list. And this is just because from the data set I'm using for this, it's still referencing last year. So there are some guys who have changed teams. So in the initial list, they played for 2 separate teams, and obviously we only want their current team. So that's what I'm doing. And then I have this in lineup, yes, no. And that is simply how we actually change people out of the lineup, right? So I just have this in lineup column on either side, the home and away. And if they're in the lineup, you don't have to do anything. So you don't have to set it to yes. That's my preference. That's how I made it. You can just leave it blank. But if you say no, it will automatically reduce their projected goals for to 0. And then I've just conditionally formatted it so it's red, so I know they're out of the lineup, so I can, at quick glance, take a peek. Now, there are more complex things you can do. For instance, this is very simple. So if a player is out of the lineup, I'm just pulling out their projected goals for. I'm not boosting anyone else. So like, let's say the first line centerman is out, which in this case would be McDavid. So if McDavid's out, then Draisaitl likely gets a boost, right? So what you could do is you could have essentially like a secondary column and maybe make it like a 10% boost or something like that. Like if you think their ice time is going to be more. So you could do, like let's say no. So if McDavid's out, obviously that's a huge chunk of their goals is out. But then you could have like a secondary column, and it could just be whatever. And you can, if you turn it on, you could say if on, boost this projection by X% or X number or whatever the case is. It's not something you need to do. It's not something I've looked into. But this is a really simple way that you can play around with team-based stuff. And again, this is not my main model. This is my backup that I have. It's using a lot of similar data to what I use in my main model, but it's not identical. I have this again for COVID or for injuries, like because in years past, if Austin Matthews, that he comes to mind, he was out for the Leafs with a shoulder injury. It was still for couple games, it was still projecting that they would do a lot better than they did. And obviously, if a player's been out of the lineup for a long time and he comes back, they'll typically, or the potential for him to get a boost is there. So it's not something you have to do, but I've had more people asking about this, and this is just a simple way. So again, the key takeaway is it's just a filter, and how you choose to pull in your other data and whatever you're going to do up here, completely up to you. I have a standard that I use, but that the key here is just showing you how to easily filter on players to get them with the right team. And then you can do whatever you want with that. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, let me know in the comments below when you want to see the live streams, if you're interested in the live streams, and what you want me to talk about. I'm probably going to keep it fairly hockey focused. I know I have more followers now, who've picked up basketball and obviously with the Super Bowl and stuff coming up. But my strong suit is hockey. I'm focused on hockey. I don't bet basketball, so I'm probably not going to talk about basketball a lot. We can talk, if you wanted to, we could talk a little bit of DFS hockey, but that's not, I just play for fun, so it's not something I want to get too in depth about, but definitely from the betting side, how the model's doing, and just looking at teams and breaking down stuff, interested to chat about. And as always, if you're interested in learning how to build models and become a more profitable sports bettor, don't forget to sign up below, actionbackers.com. Use code WELCOME20 and you'll get $20 off your first month. And you'll learn how to build models for whatever sport you want to bet. And I'll see you inside.